Hello again, it's Trevor here, and this time I'd like to talk about research methods and how you go about choosing appropriate methods for your research. So your research methods are those systems, processes or techniques that you need to deploy and use in your research in order to carry out and successfully achieve your research aims. So your methods include things like collecting secondary data. Secondary data is that data that somebody else has published. So quite commonly, that is doing a literature review and reading around your subject, reading about your subject and anything that is linked to that subject. Doing a literature review really helps you understand the background, the context and the current state of art in your subject area. Secondary data sources can also include published data like statistics and other information from newspaper articles or journal papers that help you build up a picture of what's going on in your subject area. Primary data is the other source of data, and primary data means the data that you've collected yourself. It's unique to you. Nobody else has got that data set. So your methods need to include ways to do secondary data collection and interrogation of that data. And your methods also need to include how you're going to go about collecting primary data. So methods can include things like statistical analyses. If you want a quantitative approach, you want to collect lots of data points, lots of data that is statistically significant for your sample size. And methods can also be qualitative, i.e. they collect information, data and information about people, about how people behave. You aren't going to collect a lot of data to make it statistically significant. However, qualitative data gives you a general feel, a general sense of what's going on about a particular subject or topic area. So your methods need to reflect the sort of approach that you're going to take with your data identification, collection and interpretation of that data. Are you, for example, going to take a quantitative approach whereby you get a large data set with lots of data that is significant in terms of the statistical approach and analysis that you're going to do later? Something like a census for a nation. That's a statistically significant piece of data that is a quantitative approach to data methodology. Or are you going to do a qualitative approach where you're going to ask people about their opinions, about their feelings, about the environment in which they find themselves and that you're interested in? So your methods need to necessarily flow from the aims and the objectives of your research and be appropriate for the approach you're going to take and the sort of later on the analyses and the conclusions that you're going to make. So think carefully about the methods that you want to deploy. Think about the resources you have available to you, things like your time, the staff power that you have, how many people are you going to employ in collecting that data for you, and also the logistics of data collection, because the methods that you deploy will necessarily have questions around the logistics. For example, if you want to interview people in another country, is that going to be feasible? Things about different people speak and read different languages, how you're going to cope with that. Things like different time zones. Also, do you have access to information? if people promise you access to information or information sources, do they actually deliver on that promise to you? All those sort of things can influence, and should indeed influence, your choice of methods that you use. There's lots of information on the internet about different methods to deploy, whether it's quantitative or qualitative. So I hope that helps you to think about the methods that you want to use in your research. If you've found it useful or you've got any other questions, please just type any comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Give me the thumbs up, like this YouTube movie, and thank you very much for watching. Bye.